these all photographs I prepared. These training programs, you can see me training some of the people in Sri Lanka. All these training programs, these are manuals I developed, these are systems I developed. So these are the components. You have to have a structure, authority, responsibilities. Training awareness is important. This kind of programs are very important in asset management to pass the knowledge. Academics are developing fantastic outcomes. If you don't pass it to the practitioners, what's the point? So training, workshops, this kind of discussions are very important. Communication is the most important thing, and also participation. So you are very lucky today. We have a very good audience from both sides, research side as well as industry side. That's the most important. Communicate each other, express your concerns each other. Then you get the solutions very quickly, very fast way. Asset management systems, information management. Asset management very dependent on information. That means how the assets performs. You build a asset, you have designed perfectly, you construct perfectly, but immediately open for traffic. What could be the behavior? It could be according to prediction, according to payment designers' prediction, it will long last 20 years. As Tops mentioned, 13 to 15 years time it will fail. But it won't happen like that. Never happen in the real world. Sometimes it starts on a second year. Sometimes it starts on fifth year. Sometimes it fails on a 30 years time. Our designs are better than what we predicted. But we have to understand about that. So that's what asset management information you have to collect every year. You have to go to the field and look at it. Maintenance engineers knows very well. But the issue is maintenance engineers go and inspect the road. I met that gentleman 10 years working in the maintenance. He knows exactly what is going on. But he is moved on to another area now. What is the knowledge? Where the knowledge now? Unless you put it to the database as information, you can pass it to the young engineers. So asset management provide that information. All the decision making through the information, not anything else. Decisions are made by very professional engineers by judgment with the engineering knowledge. That is very subjective. One person to the other person is different. I have maybe 25 years experience, another person have 30 years. Both have different opinions. But if you work along with the real information, condition data, things like that, it won't go wrong. Because both of us are subjective, but we are taking decisions with a very objective manner. So that's what asset management is important. It's based on information. Asset management is very big picture is holistic, systemic, and establishes government structure, sustainable and risk-based. I'm going very quickly on these ones because it's a holistic manner. Asset management have every components in it: management, engineering, information, everything. So if you have all those things together, it's a sustainable manner that has to be long last forever. You can't have a structure today and disappeared within 3 years. You have to continually do that one. So that's what. And also these days, what is called risk-based. Higher the risk, you have to give the response very quickly. Everything decisions are risk-based. Benefits adopting, but I'm not trying to go through all the ones, but it's clearly defined service level objectives, prioritize investments, and your decisions normally you take as an engineer, professional engineer. But if you do with the information, it's very transparent. If your politician come and ask, why did you decide like that? You have an answer to give, because it's not your own opinion, your opinion as well as the real information. So that's what it's important. those are the things few I want to know. But anyway, it's ultimately optimization of agency cost. We are optimizing cost of the investment here. Benefits on past 55. They have identified very different ones, what's called customer satisfaction. Through asset management system, you can do customer satisfaction. You have ability to demonstrate best value for money. If you have information base, if you have a computer systems provide, that is provide, you can demonstrate it to politicians or whoever funding agency, why you are doing like that. And also optimize return on investment. As I mentioned previously, you have to have a return on your investments. So asset management systems provide that opportunity. And also asset management, very important thing is it's not today's program or tomorrow's program, not decision about today issues. But when you think about today issue, you have to think about next 20 years. My solution only not for today. It has to long last for 20 years. That's what asset management means. Most of the maintenance engineers, I'm not criticizing, but if you have a pothole, you just go and patch the pothole. But if you know real information that potholes because of the pavement failure, probably you don't have to do pothole patching. You come and reconstruct the whole section rather than pothole, because today pothole patching, tomorrow another pothole, day after another pothole, because it's a pavement failure. So rather than that, you have to think about 20 years ahead. What's your solution? Not today pothole patching. Maybe you patch the pothole today to safeguard the safety, but you have to think about this is a pavement failure. You have to consult pavement engineer and get the advice from him and get the real solution for that one rather than taking your own decision. So that's asset management. Thinking about solution, long-term solution. And what I have understood is when you have a set up asset management properly in organization, your reputation in your organization reputation will be improved because you are not biased for anything. You are systematically taking decision. Systematically in the sense information based. That gentleman talk about this one. I took these photographs in Sri Lanka, right? I developed all this system for this one. This is an expressway. So why I put these ones is payments, not only the assets for the infrastructure. You can see road signs, road marking, lighting, bollards, raised pavement markers, line marking, fences, drainage, guardrails, all you have to maintain. Because payment designers, payment engineers are concentrate only for payment. But when you come to the operation situation, these other things are important as well. If you don't have a good drains, what will happen? You destroy your payments. Whatever the proper designs, best aggregates, best construction method won't long last. So you have to think about composite, everything. So if you don't have a line marking properly, you have safety issues. So you have to think about those one as well. So I put one slide for that one just to highlight. So don't think payments is number one asset in a road infrastructure, but all other important components also there. So I come to payment management system. I think a lot of people are familiar with the payment management system. So this diagram is the one which I would like to highlight. The whole thing is put into the one diagram. If you see in the first column, location references, inventory, condition and traffic. All these information has to be incorporated in your databases. And financial data, geospatial data, planning data, network policies, work standards, model default data, model calibrations. Anybody knows about these ones? Who is doing payment management? Are you sure? The university has developed a payment management system. I heard this morning they have developed in a proper way, but they said it's not very complicated system, but it's a good system to start with. Complicated systems are having a lot of models which we could say integer programming, all kind of things are inbuilt to the system, but it's too complicated to come to that stage. It takes some time, but if you have an information base, at least that's a good start. And also you have analytical tools. So in this diagram it says it's all in the database, and you develop what is called strategic analysis, works program, project evaluation, network performance analysis. These are all reporting. So these are the basic thing in the payment management system. I'm not going to go into detail, but if there's any other opportunity, we can discuss anything if you want, right? So asset inventory. I think, have you heard about asset inventory? Everybody knows about asset inventory. But what we want is not only asset inventory we know, but it has to be recorded. It has to be updated. Every time when the inventory change, you have to update. Then you have information, right? It's a database. You have road features, what's the width, what's the length, that kind of thing. And what's the payment thicknesses, what's the payment material properties, all kind of things are recorded in one database. That's called road inventory, asset inventory. Asset inventory means beyond payment. That means signs and everything is incorporating into one database. Payment condition monitoring. Who is doing payment condition monitoring at the moment? Don't say no, you should do this one. I think everybody knows. Payment maintenance engineers, every time they have in their mind what is the payment condition, but you monitor regularly and record it. Is anybody doing? That's I think somebody might do, must do, because this is the fundamentals of asset management. Because once you open up for the operation any asset, then you have to monitor what's the performance, what's happening from the day one. So now in Sri Lanka, I did, before opening for the operations, I checked the conditions. What is the payment structural condition? What's the functional condition? What's the surface condition? Then you know from there, day one, what will happen, how it deteriorates. That knowledge has to be developed. So the payment condition monitoring is very important. So these are the type you are monitoring: roughness, rutting, cracking, surface texture, skid resistance, payment strength. I put two dark colors, skid resistance and payment strength. Those are the areas where I am going to touch about research and development, what we have done. Because other areas are generally people knows. It's not very complicated, but skid resistance and payment strength, those are the most expensive data collection behavior and the payment. So because of that, we have to optimize your investment. So my research based on mostly skid resistance and payment strength. So these are the equipments we use to collect the data. You would have seen these ones. Now I can see some of the smiles coming, so you are familiar with this one. So this equipment, have you seen the profilometer? So that collects roughness, rutting, texture, everything. And this one is measuring payment strength. And this is the same equipment like this one. Then you have a ground penetrating radar, but it is not widely available. You can see the payment layers. What is the layers? These kind of graphs. But it is not a common practice. Still, the technology is not that advanced. This is the one I was talking yesterday with Tops and pendulum testing, but I'll show you some of the other equipments we use for skid resistance later. So this is even these equipments are a little bit old now. It's this kind of equipments used for last 10 to 15 years now in the world. Australia is producing this kind of vehicles to the worldwide. Even recently Sri Lanka purchased one of these for $1 million. So it's quite reasonable now, reasonable price. But these are the new equipments. Can you see the top left hand corner? This is the experiment I did. This is called traffic speed deflectometer. And this equipment, this yellow color equipment, measure pavement strength every 100 meter or every 50 meter intervals. You have to stop and do it. It's very expensive. You have to stop the traffic and go and stop it and do it. But now latest one is this one. This operates 80 km per hour and measure every 2 centimeter pavement strength. Huge number of data, very easy, cost effective. You don't have to control the traffic. I did this is coming from Denmark. Denmark, they produce, or at the moment, only 4 vehicles in the world. I brought it to Australia and did the testing on this one in my network. I used this one to monitor 5,000 kilometers. So I'll show you some of the results. I got it later. And this one, right down, this is called Scrim Plus. This is the one I was talking this morning to Tops. This is the machine where you have a scrim. Scrim is measured skid resistant. And also this has other equipment similar to this equipment. Profilometer. It collects roughness, rutting, texture as well as skid resistant. But expensive, both vehicles are closer to $2 million. Very expensive to operate as well.
Just before we get back, I'm curious why this equipment built on the trucks, not the normal car. What the reason?
This is the reason is this vehicle has to have axle load of 9 ton. So you are replicating your weight. So this is a real performance in the 9 ton axle pass it. When it's passed, how the deflection reflects. Otherwise, you have to develop a new models to identify. Actually, it's happening now. The one company in Brisbane, they are trying to develop small vehicle and try to develop algorithms to suit to that vehicle to replicate 9 ton axle load. They are trying, but this vehicle is tested for last 10 years and it's working all right now. It's very cost effective. I use this one. And again, payment deterioration models. Models are very important for the payment management systems. That's what we are collecting data annually. Then we develop profiles like this, like that. These are the called deterioration models for roughness, for example, payment strength. So we have to develop all these performance curves. Then only you can run payment management systems. Then only you can predict properly for the future. So I'll give you a little bit examples about, this is another area we did some research work. I'll touch into that one as well. Performance indicators, as I mentioned, cracking, raveling, potholes, edge repairs, rutting, surface texture, skid resistance. These are the areas where you are reporting to your management. This information has to be collected annually. In Australia, annually it passes it to the management. Then management knows exactly what's going on, how it's a performance. If one goes right down, the management will ask what can we do to fix up that one. So this is the information-based decision making. So that's what important. Performance indicators are very important. Payment designs. I'm not going to talk about much. Talk about this one. But payment management systems won't do much unless you do proper payment designs. So I just put it this slide to highlight that one. And we have manuals, we have national guidelines, and also we have state guidelines. and also a lot of research